One, two, three, one, two, three, hello, hello. This is yet another recording where I am exploring my innards, internals, internals from external. So, first of all, I'm going to start a timer, a 30-minute timer to not become lost in all this beautiful recording. Okay, I am I feel great. I feel great. Maybe this is not for a long time. It won't last for long. But anyway, uh, today, as usual, I'm going to focus on exploring, letting myself feel stuff, connect with myself, with my internals and my externals, and explore, look how my awareness flows if I do different things. Um, if I do different internal movements, and if I play with code and whatever I see on my screen or around me. So that, and doing it slowly to let my psyche, my body, to settle down, to increase my awareness, increase my awareness. Oh, right. So, to this slowing down thing lets me to be in touch with more things, to notice more things in a given moment. And one of the things that I'm going to do is to notice that I'm being recorded, that this beautiful camera lens is directed at me, and I'm going to upload this video to the internet, on the internet. I don't know how to say it correctly. On the internet. Yeah, and this might be seen by some people. Most likely it won't, because who gives a nickel about my explorations here? But anyways, that is a probability, and it changes things. Okay, so paying attention or noticing that I am being recorded. Another thing that I want to do is to pay attention to or notice what is going on in my body, inside my body. And there is some tension inside my body. There is some excitement, I would say. There is a lot of excitement in my body and some playfulness. Today, I'm not holding myself back, or my shame is not holding me back, which is basically the same. And I'm playing with all these voice stuff. How I don't know how to say this, how to name this, but all these intonations, I don't know, changes in my voice, and I'm moving my hands. And what if I let myself move around uh, with move my hands around, and to just move here and there like this. So there is some tension in my body, and also pleasure. There is pleasure in my body. There's a lot of pleasure in my body right now. And one of the things that I can track back to the origin that influenced my feeling great, my enjoyment right now, is that I am exploring, allowing myself to be more, and I'm restricting how myself on how I'm supposed to be less. So in a more simpler way, simply put, it's like I'm um, how to put this simpler. I tell myself less on how I'm supposed to be, and I'm just letting what wants to appear. So, for example, one of the things that I have realized is that I don't want to make content for beginners. Well, it's a little shameful to acknowledge, but I don't want to do that. And when I acknowledged it, when I recognized it, when today, like an hour before this recording, I'm like, I want to make content for intermediate level developers, for senior level developers. So for what's that? Junior, middle, senior. Not middle. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So then that evoked pleasant feelings in me. Yes, I want to investigate, explore, learn about more advanced tools, not beginner level tools, and to share that with people who can, who are at the level that I don't need to explain. They know the basics. They know they've done some work, and now I don't need to explain to them like, oh, look, this is a variable. To create a variable in Java, you first need to introduce its type, integer. So okay, int, and then you need to come up with a name like age, and then you need to put something inside. You could put something inside a variable. For example, your age. Say I'm 333 years old right now. And then, oh, look at this. This here, you're just, this is a sentence, kinda like in programming. This is called a statement. And you're taking this value and using the assignment operator to put it inside a variable that is also being declared here, and blah, 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 blah. So this is just wonderful, and I have nothing against that, but it turns out that subconsciously, consciously, I don't know, subconsciously, I am not interested in explaining all this. And what I'd like to explain or explore more and then share with people is, for example, how you define an endpoint in Spring, and how does, like, how can you get parameters from a request from query parameters? How can you get query parameters or request body like post parameters, or files? And how can you validate those? And what are the ways that are that you could then do some logic afterwards with, execute some logic afterwards. So all that, but not like this this beginner level stuff. So I was just like, oh, this is how you define an endpoint in Spring. It consists of an annotation and a regular class method. This thing does that. Uh, it works like this. It's like this is what it is, and so that is where my current interest is, and I don't need to fill in the gap. I don't need to build first. I don't need to build a course, a Java course for beginners first, to then be able to then have the right to create a course about Spring, or about something that or about Spring Security, or about Hibernate, or about JPA, or about about Maven, or about how you work with message queues, for example, or other things in Java, how you use DDD to structure your project so that tens or dozens or hundreds of developers could work on it in that like simultaneously. Or how do you do like microservices in Java, or how do you write tests in Java? So all that, but not like very beginner stuff. That feels boring. That feels like I don't know. And probably not probably, there's tons of content, tons of courses on that. And so when I let myself to want whatever I want, to have the interests that to have my own interests that are not, or to discover my own interests, to say like, oh, I want to create content on the topics that I'm interested learning about. Not only like that I need to first learn and then like have a 700 years of experience on that topic, but what if I could tinker with a topic and learn great things about it, and then share those great things with people who are approximately my level, or at approximately my level, or they at that stage where I am at. Maybe I could be a little ahead of them, or like whatever, but it's that. It is that acceptance that I notice that it unlocks the energy inside me, that joy inside me, that pleasant stuff inside of me. So yeah, I said it. I have my own interests. Great. So this is what's hot for me right now. What's alive for me right now. And I've been saying all this, or I had been saying all this, without that slow pace, without noticing that I'm saying it to the camera, in front of the camera, and letting myself to savor the confession, so to speak. Yeah. Okay. I want to play with. Oh, so that was one example of letting myself to discover what I want, rather than telling myself what I should want, or what I'm supposed to want, or what I'm supposed to do before I get to have fun. I get to do the things that I want. How about I'm just start doing the things that I want to do, and that, my friend, sounds delicious. It's like, what is, is that easy? That easy? Can I just do the things that I want to do, work on the courses, or learn about the things that I want to learn about, that I'm excited to learn about, that I feel pleasure thinking about? Is it that easy? Well, it's not, and it is. Because to get to this self allowance, I had to do a lot of inner work, inner exploration, and now I have this. Cool. What I want to do, I want to play with letting myself to move when I'm being recorded. So I want to let myself, I want to see what changes when I let myself to not stay static, motionless, and how, what's it like to do this in front of a camera, and to look around, to move my hands, to allow my hands to move here, and to allow my focus, my attention to shift, to wander around, to pause like this and look away and look down maybe, and see the table in front of me, and my hand, and also to let myself feel the stream of sensations that comes through my body at this particular moment of being recorded. What am I allowed to be while I'm being recorded? What if I'm allowed to feel and experience all this, to be here for my own sake, for my own pleasure? That looks, feels different. That feels like the key, the unlock that or at least that feels like something I want to participate in. I would volunteer to do that, to be in that. Like, oh yeah, I'm being recorded, but pressing the camera button doesn't. It's not necessarily should stop the fun, or should stop the being and start whatever torture it starts. So what if, when the camera is rolling, when I'm using English, for example, when I'm doing all this, what if I don't need to stop being, and stop having fun, and stop freedom, this movement of my attention and of my sensations, of my awareness of myself. So what if I allow myself to enjoy this? I allow myself to be, to move, to pause, to think, to feel spacey, to feel, ooh, I don't know what to say. I'm confused. Oh, and I also feel something in my legs. And I also see my finger doing like this. What if I can do that during recording all that intermediate or advanced content that I just talked about? What if I can get distracted for a sec to look at my work laptop? What if I can make all these mistakes in pronunciation, in grammar, in words, just choosing wrong words and having imperfect sentence structure or unnatural sentence structure, and what if I'm allowed to have all this and to craft it all together, and just what if I'm allowed to be cooking all this, being with all this? Whew, that sounds amazing. That sounds like something that I want to participate in. Something like, what if camera starting recording does not stop the fun and movement and freedom? What if my neighbor, like hearing my neighbor, like what if people around me, their attention does not stop the fun? What if, yeah, but I'm dancing here in the first place for my own pleasure and sake, for my own entertainment. Feeling all this for my own entertainment. What if all this is for my own entertainment? Of course, it does not mean that I'm just gonna ignore other people. But what if I can feel this? What if I can be afraid, get scared, or be ashamed and continue the movement, or have that permission to pause and be scared and just like not move and experience that freeze, that uncomfortable, unpleasant feeling, sensations? What if that is, what if I'm allowed to? Ooh, I like this. The core part of this exploration is that what if I dance? What if I dance for my own sake? What if I dance for myself? What if I be for myself? What if, but here with camera, what if I I'm allowed to be in the first place, to continue being in the first place, and not stop my being because I need to adhere to a certain standard or certain vision or certain set of expectations. But fuck it. Well, how different is it? How does it feel for me to allow myself to be like this? It feels different. It feels inviting. It invites movement. It invites those parts of me that were suppressed. So what if I look around? What if I just move like this and like, oh, yeah, I'm being recorded, great, but I'm sitting like this. Here, I'm having all this freedom to sit like this. Where? What? Like, if I sit like this, nobody loves me, will love me, or people will just say, "Oh my God, he when he sat like this, it just somehow removed all the value from what? From saying like, oh, this is a map, this is a string, an integer, a variable, a hash map. Can I just move like this and change my positions? What if I can? What if I do these different things here? Like, what if I take my pillow and like, oh, this is my pillow, and that's it. Oh, I noticed that doing this puts me, like, especially with neighbors. I heard my neighbors, and that actually is great. Like, what if he can hear me? What if right now, as I'm saying, as I'm mentioning my neighbor, he can hear me? How about that? How vulnerable is it? It is to say it out loud. That's cool. This is really cool. Brave, vulnerable, and also unfucking comfortable. It is super uncomfortable to do this. Oof. To be, to continue being while being near someone that I perceive as unsafe. How about that? Shit. This feels like some internal work. What if I allow a little bit more freedom in my being? What if I allow a little bit of more freedom of being and freedom of moving, expression? What if I allow that? Allow that more. Say, at least here on camera, at least here with the content, with the courses, with projects that I'm going to work on, with all that. How about that? What if I do the things that feel excited. Exciting. Exciting. Oh look, the timer is up. Freedom. This is a great discovery in today's recording. And I'm gonna stop recording this video because it's late and I have few more things to do today.